Stop listening. Instead, stream the uncut version of this discussion by either or both, tipping us on Ko-fi or joining a membership on either Ko-fi or Patreon via the links in the description. Are you guys still on? Last one was a doozy. I should never say that. I would.
You would say that imitating her.
No, I would just say that as though
you just did.
I would love to hear her say that, but it would never happen.
Doozy.
Like, can you imagine her saying that? Not at all.
I could. She says some things. She says things sometimes.
That was a doozy. No, that's not happening.
Not like that. Not with that inflection.
That was a f***ing sucked. This is a f***ing sucker.
Yeah, she would say
more like her.
Yeah.
See? We moved to New York. We all had New Jersey accents. But what ended up happening was my sisters got this hardcore Jewish Brooklyn accent. I didn't. This is what that means. And so the turns of phrase I would use, see, like this, would end up,
for example,
let's just go to the malt shop and get some sody pop. And that's what she would say. She'd make fun of my flannel and my, at the time, one goatee, you know, like the goatee without the mustache, you know?
Oh my gosh. Peak 90s.
90s.
Yes.
90s, yeah.
Peak 90s.
With the mushroom haircut, with the undercut and the chain wallet.
I had a motorcycle for several years, but that was well into my adulthood.
I see. For some reason, you're forever young. You're 23 forever, so that's where I put you in my head.
I am 23.
I'm enjoying the regular amount of times that I freak out the Gen Z kids that work with me because they don't know how old I am actually, and they're like, I'll start talking about something and they're like, when were you born? And I'm like, in the 80s, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah.
OMG NBD. Oh my god, it's no big deal.
Huh?
Never mind.
Oh.
Shouldn't bring today to yesterday.
I'm like, no, we did not use letters like that. We wrote out our words.
I'm GTFO with my friend.
GTFO.
STFU.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I am joined by...
Me. CosmoMom09.
And me, Karina, of Etta Karina Art.
And we're here to talk to you and maybe get you to come closer and discuss with us, right, Jason, who's in the audience? Fallout's 5th episode of its 2nd season, The Wrangler.
Why are you so close?
He said get closer.
Oh, I'm in the audience, not you. You're already here. You're in the zone,
what's
man.
Happening?
Yeah. She took me literally there. I meant the greater you, the collective.
Collective you.
The better me?
The hive mind.
I'm trying. Working on it.
It's so hard, this. Oh, yeah. Well, we do have a little bit of housekeeping. I had just posted on our Ko-fi and Patreon a little notice that for those of you who are craving the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon art logo merch, that stuff is going to be going away soon. So please take advantage of that while you can from our new store on squawkingdead.com. Hit the main menu and choose shop merch. They are going to be going away, like I had mentioned they would a couple months ago, because we need to make room for new stuff that I've already started posting on our Fallout merch.
Yay.
I've already posted the wool hat design. It's not easily accessible, by the way, unless you click all products. It's still in process right now, but I've got the embroidered t-shirt designs for both blue and the yellow, which are really cool, by the way. It is the Vault-Tec logo with the skull in the middle from last year, but obviously embroidered. It's not an iron-on thing, so it's a little pricier. It's a $32 t-shirt, but it's kind of cool, actually. So if I do share on myself.
Nice.
Those are the few things that are up right now. It's going to take me a little bit more time, but I have something really cool in store for you. You'll see it on the wool hat, and I'll probably put it up on the screen when this episode comes out, along with the Vault-Tec logo. Instead of the skull in the middle now, it's Karina with the missile just coming out the middle. And then there's the 4 of us on each of the 4 quadrants and stuff like that. So that's It's going to look pretty wild. So that the hat already has that. The rest is going to follow. Hopefully I'll get most of that done this weekend before Night of the Seven Kingdoms comes out on Sunday, which we're going to also be breaking down as well. Not to give you anxiety, Rachel. Sorry.
Where do I have to watch that at?
HBO Max. Jason says, I can't wait to review that. Yes, thank you, Jason. I cannot wait to actually talk about that. I can wait. Listen, we're covering so much right now. And again, it's going to really suck. But we do it for us and we do it for you.
It's a Game of Thrones thing, right?
That's right. It's occurring smack dab in the middle between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. So 100 years after House of the Dragon, 100 years before Game of Thrones. The title of this episode was called The Wrangler, in case you wanted to know. How does the Wrangler pertain to what we saw in this episode? Let me say one little tiny factoid before we move on to that. I had only noticed maybe now that what the ghoul is wearing is a very filthy, muddy, dirty, gross version of what he wore when he carried away Janie in that first scene. I noticed the collar at some point, but then with all that underneath the duster and the hat, you wouldn't notice it because it does not resemble the bright blue Vault-Tec-y kind of colored rodeo outfit that he was wearing at that party.
I saw a theory that was kind of heartbreaking. He is still wearing the same outfit because he wants his daughter to recognize him when he finally sees her again. And I'm like,
never more prevalent than this episode.
Jason said Mr. House might have wrangled up those death claws to protect Lucky 38. Although I like what Jason called it better. The Licky 38.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it because then it sounded like you're like, I like Licky.
No.
I just like it.
That sounds more like what you'd find on the Vegas Strip. The Licky 38.
Yeah.
Not so much these days.
That's a solid theory, though.
Yeah.
Right? That he put them there.
He looks up at the Lucky 30 at the Strat, at the top of the Strat, looks dark. Is Robert House still alive? Is it like the games where House always has a backup plan? And he even mentions in this episode how
the House
with the
always
cold fusion,
wins. Yeah.
He would have lived forever.
He's not the House. He freaked out.
Yeah, he's like, what if I'm not the House? What if somebody else is?
Yeah, he's obsessed with control, I guess, right? Isn't that the whole thing of knowing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he boils everything down to a mathematical equation that he thinks he can solve. But I think it becomes increasingly obvious that you can't boil down chance and things like that into mathematics. Doesn't always work that way.
There's always going to be that wild card.
Right. You can do it to a degree, but when you have so many, like he says, variables or unknown variables, something that stuck out with me, remember that long back and forth conversation when we were talking about Hank and the reason Shady Sands fell and all that stuff, and how it came down to two main factors, but one that was kind of like an overarching one was Hank's need to control. As you mentioned, Karina, I saw similar vibes coming from Robert House.
Yeah.
How him not knowing was the equivalent of Hank just needing to get on top of the situation and needing to control that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he states that he knows all of the technology that's being worked on. He knows all of the research that's happening, and he jumps on it at the most opportune moment when it's going to make him the most money. So yes, he's very obsessed with control and quantifying things. I will say, I don't think that House put the death clause there. My main reason for believing that is because the death clause were created by the US government, and who is still around that could be creating and putting death clause in wherever they need it to go.
This is getting into such a delicious conversation.
It would be the Enclave. Yeah, the Enclave.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what I implied in the last episode.
Yeah. I don't think that House did it. I think the Enclave has something to do with that.
Could he have lured them?
So death clause wouldn't just invade a highly populated space like that on their own. So the shopkeeper or the casino bartender at the Atomic Wrangler, again, back to our title, basically says, they came from Quarry Junction, which is what I'm always alluding to when I say you can't just walk from Good Springs to New Vegas because the death clause will get you. They're coming from Quarry Junction. Yeah, it's a huge nest of death clause. It's a death trap. They wouldn't just wander from there into New Vegas of their own volition. So something either lured them there or someone put them there.
Somebody would have had to have put them there or led them there. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Well, then you might have answered your question because it could have been Hank.
Possibly. We haven't figured out when the death claw showed up. They're obviously hatched eggs, and we didn't see any baby death claws, so I don't know if the ones that were there grew up there or if there are babies that they're protecting.
Good point.
There's not really a way to know that.
Yeah. And we don't know the gestational period too.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a short period of time, by the way. All this is occurring within like a week's or so time. Season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You'll notice that from the time that Norm.
Week?
Yeah.
A week?
Weeks or so. No more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, Norm wouldn't have been able to survive very long in there. He had some snacks to eat, but he couldn't have survived in there but for a few days.
Man.
Yeah. I think he was getting close to starving to death because that's
the
why
third
Bud was
day.
like,
Yeah.
Bud was like, oh, let me just jab you with the thing. It'll be easy and painless. You don't have to starve to death. Just let me get you.
Just let me kill you.
Stand still.
The timeline-wise, that does make sense.
Yeah.
It's just
That
wild.
the whole thing feels like it should have been much longer.
The snake oil salesman, he's like giving them the deal, and he's like, take her back home. And I'm like, dude, it's been like 3 months. You can't just like sling her over her shoulder and walk her back.
It's all a side quest. It just makes it feel bigger than it is. Like,
Sure. Well, and we're seeing everything that's happening. There's no significant time jumps. And I think we're used to that. And so it feels like a lot of time has passed, but really.
Well, even the snake oil salesman fella, I'm sure it does backtrack a little bit from the time he just got the fusion core from Thaddeus.
Yeah, we get to see him.
The amount of days he's strolling around the wasteland.
I laughed so hard at the hard cut to him struggling for his life underneath the rat roach. That's such a core gaming experience. You just happily walk and everything's great, and all of a sudden you're in trouble, like, fighting for your life. Like, okay, and now everything's fine again.
Karita's just like listening to bangers,
so
walking across the wasteland.
Yeah, like listening to Big Iron on my Pip-Boy radio.
Screw my shoe.
I think another reason I felt like so much time had passed was looking at Thaddeus. The progression of his ghouliness.
You mean his FEV transformation?
I really don't think he's a ghoul. Yeah. I think he's intentionally been made up to look like he's turning into a ghoul, but I don't think that he is, especially with the other little revelation that we had later on where Norm discovers information about the forced evolutionary virus.
To kind of backtrack, but also not, it kind of confirms a little bit further, but maybe not even, that maybe Rodney McCurtry does know what the FEV is. The forced evolutionary virus was the acronym or the code for Future Enterprise Ventures.
Yeah.
So what the forced evolutionary virus is the super mutant virus, basically, Rachel. Mm-hmm. So when we were talking about it in last season about super mutants, this is what that is.
But there's ghouls and then there's this. So it is okay.
Super mutants are larger. They're a failed experiment. Okay. So there's a lot of those.
They're all like that.
Yeah. It was a bid to keep humanity alive through the nuclear apocalypse. So they thought that they would force evolution into creating these superhumans.
That wouldn't succumb to radiation, basically. Right.
They would be immune to radiation. They would be stronger, faster, and more intelligent. Well, they just only got stronger and faster, but they're not more intelligent, and they are all sterile. So the only way to make more super mutants is to expose more humans to the FEV. Okay. So it's not a viable solution. So they abandoned it. But the thing is, the super mutants have their own culture now, I guess if you could call it that. Most often, you're going to see that represented with like sacks of body parts strewn about. That's the kind of culture that they have. They're pretty scary individuals. Now, that's not to say that all super mutants are kind of brutish, cannibalistic, crazed monsters. Some of them are very intelligent. So it does work in different ways for different people. Ghouls are created through exposure to radiation, where super mutants are exposed to the FEV, which it seems more likely that he was exposed to the FEV rather than just given a huge boost of radiation based on what we saw in season 1, because he took that injection. Yeah, Thaddeus. Considering what happens at the end of this episode, I was looking at the specifics of ghouls and how they are able to survive certain injuries and things like that. Irradiated humans. Yeah, because of what happens. I was concerned. He's going to be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I figured.
I had no doubt. Just put a Band-Aid on it.
And it actually worked.
Put some radiation on it, really. So ghouls are made by radiation exposure. Most commonly, the reason they go feral is because their brains will actually deteriorate over time. Through centuries of being alive, your brain matter just can't continue on forever. They're effectively immortal, where essentially they can heal pretty much any wound. They resist decay. They're immune to radiation. All this great things that give them such great advantage, but they do always have that lingering inevitability of becoming feral because their brains won't last forever. In researching this, the ghoul hasn't just been taking drugs, he's been taking suppression drugs so that it helps keep his mind from deteriorating as quickly so that he can continue looking for his family and not turn feral in the process.
Okay.
And also, if he just gets some radiation, the Chekhov's gun, Dave's favorite little thing to mention, in the very first episode, we see him, Bridget's, whoever's, I've just heard it a lot.
David does bring it up a lot, though.
Yeah.
Right. In the very first episode, we see him healing his rope burn with the radiation. I do not think that they would have lingered on that action unless they were going to bring it back for some reason. Obviously, spoiler alert, a massive impalement is going to be something that he's going to want to use radiation to heal. So I think he'll be fine.
And the closest thing to it is the death claws, really. Just hanging around the death
because they're
claw eggs.
radioactive. Yeah.
I was upset that the episode ended right there. Not because I was worried. I'm like, he's fine. I wanted to watch him hoist himself up and like get off of the pole.
The other reason I think he's going to be fine is because even though when I was watching it, my Amazon decided to just skip to the next thing before I got to see the next week's episode. That's what happens next week is he's pulling himself off.
Yes.
You get like
good.
a preview of
I
next
didn't watch
week's
the preview.
episode, which I didn't get
Good.
to see, but other people were mentioning like, it totally shows him doing that. I'm like, okay, cool. He'll be fine.
It wasn't at the end of mine either. Well, I'm very happy that we're going to get to see that because I was very much looking
you
forward
definitely
to that.
will.
Yeah, it's one of those things I thought we would just go, oh yeah, obviously got out of this, which
I
I'm
know.
fine with. There's so many things that are swirling together right now. I'm fine if they skip that part. Right now.
I would have
I need to see it happen.
survived, but I really want to see it.
I really want to see Morgan go to the bathroom. So there's like the code for you don't need to see this. You don't need to see this.
Oh my gosh.
But then we do see him going to the bathroom.
Well,
So-
that's just a mark of a great show that they could fit that in for you, especially you.
Yeah.
This takes us back to the Force Evolutionary Virus, which, okay, now we've have some more information on what is being planned for Vaults 32 and 33. And we heard from Woody, who overheard the conversation between Betty Pearson and Stephanie Harper, the overseers of Vault 32 and 33, talking about experiments. So now Chet has that information. Now Norm has that information, what the experiment might be. Now they just need to mash themselves together and form a super person who can solve crimes.
Deathclaws are created by the U.S. government. I wanted to bring up that you had mentioned its eyes were cloudy and you thought it might be blind. And I said, no, that's just how they look.
Oh.
However, they showed
the same
these
thing.
Deathclaws in New Vegas in the city and they don't have the same type of eyes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I maybe stand corrected because that Deathclaw might have been blind actually, because again, it's the first version of it. It's not perfect.
Well, and also lizards do have that second weird two eyelid situation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It could
So
have been
maybe
that.
deployed that because of the fire, because it was bright or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Could have been protecting
And at
its
night,
eye
right?
with that.
Or
yeah.
early morning when Lucy and the ghoul met up with I was going to say the Jackson chameleons, the
They are
Deathclaws.
created from Jackson's chameleons.
Right.
Yeah,
They're created from Jackson chameleons. Okay.
Who's chameleon?
Jackson's.
It's a type of lizard.
Jackson's
Who's
chameleon.
Jackson?
It's a type. I don't know.
Oh.
It's the kind of chameleon.
Jackson
This is not a person.
Hole.
Probably the person who discovered the chameleon, more than likely.
Okay, this isn't a show thing. There's not a
It's
character.
Michael
No,
Jackson.
like a real
who
life.
created
Yeah.
No, like a
Michael
real
Jackson,
life.
the artist,
In real
the
life.
king of pop,
Okay.
discovered them.
China invaded Alaska in 2066. Yeah, and they liberated it in January of 2077. And the Great War happened on October 23rd, 2077. So
Yeah.
later
okay.
that same year, the Great War occurred.
That war lasted a long time.
No,
Yeah.
because the conversation he had with Robert House, because he said the bomb was going to drop in 2065.
Okay, that's a great question, though.
That was misleading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he said he got the data for the end of the world on Janie's actual birthday.
Oh.
The date
Yeah,
of her birth.
That's when the data coalesced.
maybe even down to
into-
the time of her
Okay.
birth.
That's why it was significant, is because the data coalesced into a definite the world is ending answer
Okay.
on the
Because
date
of
and
Janie.
possibly the exact time that Janie was born.
Okay.
So yeah, they're drawing a parallel there that I don't understand.
3 seconds later, he's like, now you're here. And that date moved up a month. And I'm like, oh.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well,
now
that's the other thing. It's him being here
So-
what changed that formula.
Yeah,
It was worded in a way
Yeah.
that was very confusing.
I would agree.
I
Yeah.
thought that was funny as well. And when
Okay.
I sat down to
Yeah.
take notes, it is a little bit more clear.
Yeah, that was something that also occurred to me. I was like, that's not right, because I know the date of the Great War is 2077, and it's in October, because in Fallout 4, you look around and there's like Halloween decorations and stuff around because it was in October.
We calculated it from the show canon too, that it was about the same month.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm thinking Last of Us. But coincidentally, I think they were both around Halloween.
Yeah.
The end of the world.
The end of the world.
Always on Halloween.
Apparently in October. Yeah.
Yeah. Walking Dead too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
House specifically in the games also mentions that he was able to predict the world would end within the next 15 years. And so when he says that date moved up a month, basically within the next 15 years, less 1 month, because Cooper showed up. Yeah, like he's that specific about the time.
Yeah. And I keep trying to remember that when the show started, they were very clear about him and his wife being divorced. Because when they're at that party, they make specific comments about him being divorced because they're still together right now. And I'm just like waiting for a snowball effect in the past, but they're still together. So I'm like, ooh.
I would wonder too if the conversation that he asked to have, like, we need to talk, is not the catalyst for them separating, because I feel like he's very against what her plans are, or whatever the company's plans are for the end of the world. So
I think it's an avalanche. There's a lot of things happening in this episode that I think cause this rift.
He spirals after that conversation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
With House,
Yes, sorry.
We don't know yet with Barb.
Right. When he's walking through and the one guy like raises his glass to and he just grabs
just takes it.
Yeah.
The guy's like,
I thought the same thing. Like, wait, isn't that why you're offering me a drink?
Yeah.
Obviously.
No, he just
So
doesn't
many
care
drinks
kiss
anymore.
thing was
little
like
time.
was troubling too. I was like, oh, can I get a kiss? Like, oh, weird. Okay,
Yeah, that
I
was
get it,
gross.
yeah.
but you'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
but-
that's fine.
No, I would not say that. I would think it. I would
do
never
it.
say it.
think that.
No, I
We're
wouldn't
all
actually do it
drinking,
either.
Rachel. You would do it,
No, I wouldn't.
but you would see. But she
Drinking.
did it on the cheek, which is kind of what I think you would do anyway.
No.
But then you'd slip and you'd be like, sorry, so sorry.
No, I would not.
Let's go to the tape. I don't know. I'm gonna record this and then later.
This feels
you'll
like
meet
projection,
Walton
Dave.
Goggins. Yeah, a little.
No.
Fine.
No.
We interrupt this podcast for an important announcement. Dave manages to actually convince Rachel that she would smooch Cooper Howard on the lips using a specific example from our journeys. However, this bit of information is not meant for public consumption. It will only be available for those who listen to the uncut version of this podcast, which you too can grab when you tip us on Ko-fi or join a membership on either Ko-fi or Patreon. We now return you to your regularly scheduled podcast.
We were talking
Yeah.
about the end of Todd Howard's career, and it suddenly occurred to me that wait, maybe that's why they're called the Howards, because Todd Howard.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Todd Howard is not necessarily IP creator, but like he's sort of the head of Bethesda and heads these projects. So yeah,
Okay.
people blame Todd Howard when they don't like something about Fallout.
Yeah.
So-
He's like the Jesus
Okay.
of the Bethesda world.
yeah. He's basically who does everybody blame when they're mad about something happening in Walking Dead? Somebody in
Gimple.
charge. Yes,
Gimple,
they always,
yeah.
he's the
Gimple.
Gimple
Sorry.
of
Yeah.
Fallout and
Of the
and,
Bethesda universe.
yeah, Bethesda IPs. Yeah.
Why is this
Anyway.
game janky? Todd Howard.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah. This is going to be a springboard onto a bigger topic of what is the downfall. And it could be what he tells Barb. I happen to think, based on even clues from this episode, that it's not that. I think image plays a lot in what shapes the lives of these people. It was actually even told to Cooper Howard last season. Yes, it was his friend who did the voice for Mr. Handy, Matt Berry. It's from his image that he got these roles, and like the Mr. Handy will always be known as Mr. Handy, but he capitalized on it. And he's like saying to Coop, you should capitalize on this. And then the Vault Tech commercial happened and whatever. Well, so there you go. But when that image breaks, right? When you show an image of yourself that isn't savory, the world's going to turn on you. I think he already showed that in this episode. It only just takes a little bit more of a nudge. And it was when he helped up Congresswoman, which I was surprised to see again, Diane Welch.
Yeah.
That scene was so funny because she was so mad. She was so angry, but she still sounded so monotone.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's her brand, man.
Plays
She does that
perfectly.
every single role.
I loved it so much because she was so angry, but she's like, "Get your hands off of me. I am a congresswoman."
I deserve to be a part of the conversation.
Thrown to the
That-
ground. Yeah.
Even that was
It's
more
animated
emotion.
than she
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. I think you're right, Dave, because Barb looked annoyed when she went to retrieve him. Yeah. No, when she came to him after he helped her up and she's like, let's go. Let's get inside. This was not good. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Because nobody else there moved to help her or anything. They all just stared at her on the ground. Nobody's touching her with a 10-foot pole. And Coop goes over there like a decent human being and picks her up. And that's not good. And keep at it. Yeah. Keep at it.
Right. That's a lot of bad things he just did all at once, though. Mm-hmm. That camera's caught.
And then I don't know how much it would affect his image to be clearly very drunk in that party.
I thought that would be it. But then I was like, it's dumber than that. It would be what he did. No, it would be literally what he did. Just a decent thing that would be his downfall. Because what would happen? I'm not saying it was just that. I think Robert House was very offended by Coop before he left. He was like, what do you mean me? I'm insane. What about you? You don't even know. You received news about the end of the world that your wife would push the button, maybe. Probably not according to me because I know everything. And you're still out there being dumb about it. So maybe you should look inward. He's like, I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey.
With his crazy hat on. Like, I'm not crazy with this giant. The thing is,
was that his thinking cap?
Well, yeah, that's the device he's going to use to achieve immortality, which oh my God. Dave, you covered your ears the last time I talked about this, so I don't know if you actually want the spoiler or not. Fine. Okay. I was going to say, you're editing this anyway. Basically, Mr. House manages to upload his brain into the computer, and his body is shriveled up, connected to this machine, keeping him alive, and he's wearing that helmet. So that's what connects his mind to the computer. So he does successfully do that, considering the events in the show are happening 15 years after the events of the game. We can assume that he was successful in some way doing that, because so far I haven't seen any evidence that the things that happened in the game are untrue. In fact, we're seeing evidence that things that happen in the game did actually happen. The robot that the snake oil salesman is talking to is proof of that, because it involves a side quest, and it's a ridiculous side quest, but it's a side quest in which you have to find a robot to work in the brothel, and you have to reprogram the robot. So I don't know if you noticed the acronym.
Now the name of it is way worse in my head.
Yeah, it's an acronym for what they actually call it, which is Fisto.
I did not know what it was used for. Fisto. Yeah.
Fisto, the robot. And the robot, just in case you're wondering, is a Protectron. There's a lot of them around all of the Fallout games, and they're usually used for security. In the side quest, you have to go and reprogram it to do something else. And I'll leave it to your imagination what a brothel robot named Fisto does.
Named Fisto. Ooh.
Yeah. Obviously, if that's a side quest that the courier in New Vegas completes, then obviously events of the games did happen, and we're not creating an alternate universe here. So my assumption is that Mr. House did effectively upload himself into that computer. Now, whether he's still alive at this point, I don't know, because his observatory is dark, and Victor said that House is gone. So potentially the courier got rid of him, or somebody else did.
Well, Victor, like you said, is probably too far away to know for certain, but although it seems like he does know.
He wasn't connected directly to the hive mind, as it were. That's why he has his own personality, so that he can operate far outside of Vegas. So it's possible he doesn't have all of the information. But again, the bartender at the Atomic Wrangler, he's rambling on at the Ghoul. He's like, it's just another change in management, talking about the death clause being there. It's like, it was NCR, and then it was Legion, and then it's NCR, and then it was Legion, and then it's whoever. It doesn't matter. So,
and he said robots too, by the way.
Yeah, and robots, which would be House's Securitrons. Yeah. If at some point House was in charge, he's not anymore, whether that was the courier's doing or something else, the Enclave or whatever.
It's probably more of a yes and. It was the courier, but something happened afterwards.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job of trying to keep the ending of New Vegas ambiguous. I wanted to know if they were going to nail down a specific canon ending, and it seems as though they're doing their best to write the story around every possibility. So, like, any of the endings could have happened, and nobody's upset. You know what I mean?
From the sound of things, it sounds like Free Vegas, but the problem with Free Vegas...
It does. But the Securitrons wouldn't have been in charge at any point if House wasn't in charge. The NCR and the Legion wouldn't have been in charge if House was in charge. I guess you could argue that if it was Free Vegas at the end of the game, that NCR or a Legion could have come in and taken control at some point after the fact.
Sure.
Yeah, 15 years have gone by. So lots of things can happen. Obviously, all this has happened in a week or so time. And it feels like a month's worth of actions have happened. You know what I mean? But that's not the case. My new theory is that they're just trying to avoid saying specifically what happens in the game or what's meant to happen in the game so that all endings are still valid.
Oh, wow. Well, and then also we do get a little bit more of a, if you include the end credits sequence as some sort of canon into the show, that last frame or that last cut of the title sequence shows Robert House's pod that he's stored in.
It could be, yeah, they could have changed it to a pod. I didn't see the end credit because, like I said, it cut off, so I didn't get to see it. But yeah.
Do you want to see it?
I would love to see it.
I think that would be a good idea. The view from across the way, which is where the Lucky 30, where the Strat is across from the Gamorra.
It's the Lucky 38. It's based off the Strat. The Strat is the real,
right.
real life equivalent.
In Vegas, yeah.
So Lucky 38.
That end sequence felt shorter to me than they usually are.
I felt like, yeah, I agree. It did feel a little less elaborate and short. It went straight from like across to up high to where the penthouse or the top of the Strat was.
All right, here we go.
All right, here it is.
Right, so we're going to get to the point. Yeah, here we go.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. That looks like House's pod.
I had no idea what I was looking at.
Well, that makes sense because if you've never played the game and you've never seen it. So the room that Cooper meets Mr. House in with the big TV security screens and everything, that's the room that you're looking at here. It's the observation deck. It's his private observatory. Just to the left of the Lucky 38 sign is the console that he was sitting in front of. So not in the foreground. There's something in the foreground that's blocking it, but in the background,
there's more,
like a greenish.
No, but I'm glad we're here because you can see a little bit more in detail this pod, and I'm going to just point it out, and it's going to look dim.
I thought it was like a rocket or something. I had no idea.
That's definitely a stasis pod of some kind. It's been a long time since I played it, so I don't remember the reveal exactly, but he is in sort of a bed-like structure that's like upright, and he's kind of all shriveled up and attached in all these ways to keep his body alive. And he's wearing that crazy helmet that he has on when Cooper's running away from him, and he's like, "I think you're the problem."
It was wild.
Yeah, he sounds crazy, but he's not.
Well, he is crazy, but he's crazy
also
like a fox.
Smart.
Yeah, wearing a tinfoil hat device and like
with light bulbs.
I wanted you to pay attention more to the detail on the pod, which you don't get if this frame is all the way zoomed out. And you can clearly see there is a bullet hole or some sort of crack in the side of the pod that I didn't notice just watching the episode casually, or even for notes. I was like, oh, episode's over. I got to run to the studio now. Right over here.
I thought that looked like a reflection to me, not a bullet hole.
Yeah, but now that I'm a little closer, see, I didn't let the scene progress where you get to see the other consoles. So yeah, it looks like a crack or a hole, like a bullet hole maybe even, but there's more because this little thing down here.
It looks like an arm.
It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Or
yeah, it looks like
it could have been a cable, right? Like a unplugged cable, which is valid, but it does look like an arm that's peeking out, right?
Ooh,
yeah,
like
I was saying that it looks like a shriveled corpse arm, which is what House would look like at this point. Yes.
At this stage, yeah. 20 years later after the courier, let's say. So I guess.
Well, he looked like that when the courier saw him. So like.
How's that look? Yeah, it looks like a hole, man.
There's definitely a dark spot in the middle.
Yeah, it's not moving as the camera moves. So yeah, I'm less inclined to believe it's a reflection now.
At this point, I'm more interested in the arm itself. But even still, if the arm is dangling like that, then his head would be on the other side. If that is in fact an arm and not a cable.
Can't really tell which.
Also, I'm not sure how the arm is even out, considering that pod looks like it should be sealed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like it might be a cable peeking out from underneath this section of the. I don't know.
Because if they shot into the pod to kill him, yeah, it looks like his head should be at the other end of the pod, like the one closest to the camera, if that's his arm. And how is his arm hanging out of this supposedly enclosed bubble as well? That's my thing, is if that's his arm. I don't understand the image.
Yeah, it could be a cable of some kind.
Can't really tell.
But there is clearly a bullet hole of some kind that's in there.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think so, yeah.
I'm glad I showed that to you because now you know what I was talking about.
I didn't get to see it. He doesn't address the courier in his body. He addresses him on the screen, the computer screen. So you'll often see an image of House in this sort of green and gray and black rendering of him because that's how he talks to you through the giant screen that he's in front of when Cooper's talking to him. That's the screen that his face will appear on because his mind is inside the computer.
For the first time, I think in Squawking Dead history, I didn't pull up my notes when we started recording. And
Oh.
we're already an hour and 20
Wow.
minutes in, which is, we've been on for years at this point, but it's interesting.
Interesting.
Because I was thinking I needed to go back into my notes to see what I'd written about that because
You're like, wait a minute, we had a full-on conversation with no notes.
no notes.
Right?
I don't usually reference them. Notes is just for, lately I have. I do want to go back to Diane Welch though. Oh no, we were talking about this. That's fine. What would be the downfall of Cooper Howard? And I would say it is Diane Welch. And I think Robert House will have a hand in that because I think he's determined to make him not a variable in this equation.
Yeah.
Why I say that is because it seems to me that he was on the outs because he was labeled a pinko. Because if he's with the U.S. government and Diane Welch is somebody who doesn't take money from politics, she's obviously a pinko. Even though she's not, which this is going to be a bigger point in my analysis. Because after I watched it the second time for notes, the fact that she's even there, Diane Welch, again, after the VA thing with the ceremony and the lighter and all that stuff, is not nothing. For sure, not nothing. If there is a player and you wanted to be the most unassuming and hidden player there is, you would hide in plain sight. So if it is the Enclave, I think Diane Welch is associated with the Enclave. And in fact, I will say this, it's not Cooper Howard that's the variable, it's Diane Welch. The very act of kindness and him saying to her, keep at it. I think
that would be interesting because then House's assumption that Cooper is the one that caused it indirectly might be true because of his
kind of true. Yeah.
kindness to her urged her on to keep going and then ended up resulting in the destruction of the world, then yes, he would in some way be responsible.
For
I would
the
argue
Enclave.
not really. Other people's actions are their own actions, and you being nice to them doesn't really necessarily make you culpable.
But if we're comparing Lucy to the Ghoul, that would be the most quintessential, I was like you before until I realized that my kindness ended the world.
Yeah. His absolute refusal to Moldaver, he's like, I will stop this from happening, but I am not going to kill somebody to do it, is so the epitome of what Lucy would do, which is why it strikes even harder where he's like, I was just like you. I was you at one point, but I was stupid. His character is getting more tragic to me the more I watch. So I feel bad for him.
And I think he feels bad for what he had to do to Lucy. See, for a season and a half, you projected so much onto the Ghoul that was completely unearned. He did not earn any bit of your sympathy at all. Literally none. Don't even start with me. He was awful to the end. You were just like, I know that I saw the daddy that he was in the beginning, right? What I said in the first episode, that's going to be important because you're going to forever judge him based on that one, I love my daughter. And so I carried her through the mushroom cloud that was happening. Right? But then nothing he did afterwards earned him any of that. But here you're like, okay, now we're starting to see the Ghoul show. You were going to see,
matter.
and you're telling me you wouldn't kiss that? Just
no, it doesn't matter
accident,
because
quote,
everything
unquote.
he does is in service of
Perfect.
his daughter.
Yeah.
So
She's such a rube in 23, but still a rube. But I love you for it. But you have to do the reality math because it's easy to overlook the fact that, okay, yes, of course, it's the first thing we see. Of course, they're trying to smuggle in the fact that he was once a good guy. But then you have to take into account the awful, awful, awful guy that he was throughout the wasteland. Because you never know. What if he turns out to be the jerk all along? And this will bring us back to...
He can't do anything wrong.
Diane Welch, I think. Because the show takes a concerted effort, whether you were here or not, Rachel. We talked about it in several episodes in a row, how all the factions in Fallout are riddled with trade-offs. They're all awful in their own special, unique, snowflakey way. Diane Welch sounds perfect on paper. I'm the only congresswoman who doesn't take money from corporations. I'm an honest politician, but you're so vanilla. So what is one person, when you push somebody like that to the edges, they become extreme too. What does that look like? Okay, would you rather deal with all this mess in the wasteland, or would you rather deal with this clandestine remnants of the U.S. military? You pushed me into a corner, and now I'm going to react, sort of thing. Would you rather deal with that? That's a very common litmus test, and there's no good answer, by the way. When you bring up, okay, would you rather deal with a politician that takes money and does some good, or would you rather deal with a politician who takes no money from politics but gets nothing done? It's a terrible choice. It's a Sophie's choice because you're like, your heart wants to say, I would never vote for the person who takes illegal money from politics. But then you're like, but that person didn't get anything done at all. They're the NCR. They make the promises and they
make
never...
the promises.
Right.
Don't follow through.
That's reality though, isn't it? It's a tough bargain. neither answer is great, but I think life is most reflected in the real life. Our life is most reflected, sadly, in the politician that takes at least some shady deals in order to get some things done. Sorry, I hate to break your hearts, everybody in the world. It's just the way the world works, I think. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying they would do it.
All I hear is you defending the ghoul.
Ultimately, I think so. Because I think most of us are the ghoul in a way.
You do bad things for the right reasons.
But
Are
I
they
also
so
think that we
bad?
often trap ourselves in our traumas. We feel enslaved to them. I mean, he's literally a ghoul. He's become a thing to do the thing.
Yeah.
And I think most of us will find ourselves there. Hopefully not at some point. You get out of it and you're like, oh, I'm going to live a full life. How about it? And I think most of us do, by the way. Most of us find a way to move on, whether we like it or not, even. Because at first we won't like it, but then we move on.
Most
Right,
is a
Jason,
high
who just
number.
popped back in? I love her voice, Jason
Welch.
said. Oh, Diane Welch. Right. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I like her too.
I had a question about that too. There was no indication. What's the time frame between the honor ceremony and him seeing her again in Vegas? She knows who he is. He knows who she is. They are very well aware of each other, correct?
It's got to be close
Yeah.
because she's packing up for the vaults already. Oh, hey, I think we kind of know because in the first season, Kate Williams, by the way, is Moldaver.
Mm-hmm.
The show manages to tell us both in the subtitles and in the X-ray.
Oh.
Okay, forget Moldaver. Forget we ever called her Moldaver. It's Kate Williams. So remember when they met at the Hollywood Cemetery or the Mausoleum
Yeah.
in the first season?
Yes.
So you get first introduced there.
I know, and you're doing all of your thinking out loud, but keep going.
I know, I'm so sorry. Okay, remember when we said earlier that all of this in the present is taking place within a span of 1 or 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
And maybe
Yes.
even season 1's a week and season 2's another week, whatever. Okay. I think also in the past, aside from the Alaskan front and aside from the first episode, I think that's also within a span of 1 or 2 weeks, perhaps. We don't know.
Yeah,
Yet.
that would make sense. Yeah.
I say that because in a week's
But there's a
time or
lot
2
of
weeks,
jumping around.
yes, in venue, right? So Vaultex headquarters,
Well,
and
like, yeah, because
the
they're they're in the
mausoleum,
office.
the white-
Exactly. The diner, and then
even Charlie's conversation with him at the bar about the Pinko meeting, and then he ends up going in the Pinko meeting. I say Pinko, just shorts, 2 less syllables than communist in the
Yeah.
mausoleum.
Yeah.
And then Moldaver has a mission for him, right? See, this is all happening very fast. In this episode, this is the mission. Take out, well, actually mentioned last episode, take out Robert House. Here's the thing to do it with. And then he finally decides after hemming and hawing after the VA thing, which only happened a couple episodes ago, that he's decided not to do it. Even after the conversation with Charlie, who said the same thing. He said, one, to make up for the fact that we never have to go through these wars again. And then he says, I'm going to be Lucy, even though he didn't know Lucy. I'm not going to kill somebody. Cold-blooded,
Like, I'm going to be a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's happening here. And it's never more sense-makey. It's not a thing that people say.
Wow.
Sense making.
I'm convinced that I'm turning into you, Rich. Only in my own unique way. Oh my God, are you going to be the genius of the show?
That is 100% something I would say.
I was afraid of what you'd say next after that. So it makes even more sense when you consider. See, that's what I meant to say.
Sense making.
Words are
But
hard.
sense making
It's
sounds
okay.
so much better.
It does. I knew what you meant.
It makes even wow. I didn't at first. It makes even more sense when you consider the fact that in this episode, they did this glitchy thing in a couple of scenes where Cooper Howard is flashing back and forth between his past self and his present self, getting
I loved that.
blitzed.
Oh, I loved it.
It was a little kind of
was
stirring
nummy.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nummy, stirring. Yeah, still got it. Not for long. I'm turning into a feral ghoul. Is what it's happening right now.
Your brain is atrophying. Martha, my name is Martha.
Sense making.
Anyway, seeing that twice in this episode, you see it like when he's stumbling around drunk, also, but he's also seeing it. You're seeing at the end of the right before the commercial break that we cheap people have when he first starts, like right when he leaves house, and then you see it again as he's stumbling around, etc. First, you're thinking, oh, it's the past meets the present, but then it's not, because you realize that the last bit of glitchiness is Coop losing his old self, meaning his Lucy self. And then it goes to Lucy becoming the ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy being passed out on the floor. I remember this very clearly, right? When he falls off the missile bull riding thing, it goes right to Lucy instead of him being passed out on the floor after punching him through the window.
Through the window.
With a power fist.
Yeah, another in-game item reference. There's not very many hand-to-hand weapons because it's a little dangerous to fight hand-to-hand, especially if you're going up against a death claw or something like that. But yeah, power fist is one of them. You can also craft a death claw out of a death claw hand, so that one's pretty useful.
Sick.
So yeah, they just drop in these little, like, by the way, here's a laser gun. By the way, here's a super sledge and a power fist.
Okay, so I laid out a bunch of things about Coop being his past meeting the present. Obviously, the span of time between the past and the present that's occurring, and the bridge between them is kind of Coop, but then it's also kind of Lucy's. Strange. It was Hank McClane. There's a connection there too. And then you think it's him and it's Coop, but it's really Lucy and the ghoul. Lucy today is already starting to become like the ghoul. Maybe she is turning into a ghoul. We don't know. And then also old Coop is dying in the past. He's losing his old self that thinks, we'll shoot him in the butt. We won't kill him.
Shoot him in the butt.
What do you think about all that? And then we'll move into Lucy's transformation.
I think it's certainly calling to him in a way, getting back to those emotions that he maybe has hidden for many, many years, centuries at this point, technically 2 centuries. Feeling kind of helpless and at a loss for what to do because he strongly suspects that they're in this vault. And he doesn't know what next steps to take because it feels like an impossible task to get past these death claws to get to it. Now add on top of it the fact that snake oil salesman, as a messenger for Hank, has now given him this information that says, hey, your family's my hostages, and unless you bring this girl back to her vault, something bad's going to happen. And he doesn't want to do that. And I think he kind of is having those same emotions where he felt like he was being pressured to do something he didn't want to do by being tasked to murder Mr. House for the benefit of the greater good. And he's kind of having the same dilemma where he doesn't really want to do this to Lucy. He doesn't agree with it, but he doesn't see any other way out of it. So that's why he agrees, because his family is ultimately what comes first. And he's been lying to himself, saying, oh, I brought you as a bargaining chip this whole time, which maybe is partially true, but I think by the time we get to Atomic Wrangler, he doesn't really want to have to do that. He wanted to have it go a different way, but he feels kind of cornered and trapped, which I think is why he's been drinking his feelings away, mirroring what he was doing after the meeting with Mr. House, because he's overwhelmed with all this information, and his wife seems like a terrible person at this point. He doesn't want to believe that that's true. He's been asked to kill this guy. He's decided not to. This guy might be crazy, or he might be telling him that he's going to be responsible for the end of the world, and somehow his daughter's birthday is tied to it some way. Like, it's a lot of information to take in and process, and I think he's just feeling helpless and at a loss, so he's drinking it away. Obviously not much has changed in 200 years in his ability to process things. It's just drawing a parallel to those similar emotions.
I think you're onto something too. He even does the whole back pat thing mildly when she's getting the last bits of a dick doll out of her system or whatever, getting last of her actual addiction out of her.
Yeah.
And you see it. You got a hint of it 2 episodes ago when he was saving Lucy from the crucifix.
Yeah, from the Legion. Yeah.
But you definitely got in this. And you could be like, oh, I'm seeing what I want to see, which is fair, by the way. I should have even said it when I did say it that episode, but here it's stupid clear. He even says, it's the least I can do for what I'm about to do. And I think he didn't want to have to do that, but I think he knew that was definitely a possibility. Yeah. And now that it's here, like you said, it's kind of like, I don't want to have to do this.
He even said it when he was talking to Dogmeat before he went to rescue her. It's a hassle to go get her, but I need her. She's the bargaining chip. He's not saying that performatively to anyone. I feel like he talks to Dogmeat the most truthfully of anyone. So anything that he says to Dogmeat, I think we can take as absolute truth coming from him.
He's like talking to the audience.
So, yeah, that was probably always the plan. But I don't think that he really wanted to do it, because you could see that he's troubled by the decision.
I think he also saw using her in a different way. He probably thought it was going to be more of a handoff situation.
Hank so she could handle it.
Right. Like, here's your daughter, give me mine type of thing.
I think he figured out where his family was the moment he stepped into the strip to looking around with the sentry bots and stuff like that. Because he was even saying to Lucy, forthcomingly, contrary to what she thought he would say, which is nothing, to your point when we're talking about him slitting the Legion guy's throat, he didn't say anything. It's like, why don't you explain yourself?
Yeah.
Now he is. Again, there's clear role swapping right now at this point. They're changing places completely. So he finally explains it. And I think he realized at the moment he came in, and it was because I've been all around. I've been to California. I've been to Oregon. And it seems like what he's been saying is I've been to all the executive vaults. There's a sprinkle of them around the wasteland, he said. But the one place he probably didn't think of going was Vegas. Because there was the Vault-Tec Hotel. Maybe it was in there, he's thinking. And it was had like that memory, like you said, he's finally thinking up all the guilty memories he has. Maybe that's one of them. And maybe the vaults, the management vaults are in there. He may be wrong still.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's right. And maybe Hank carried a bunch of eggs and the death claws just followed him and he dropped them in the middle of
That's a
Vegas,
possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Right? And there's big old power armor, like, catch me if you can.
It's hard to say because nobody else around Freeside seems to be troubled or talking about the death claws. If this was a recent event, they're taking it very much in stride. Otherwise, I would have to think that this must have happened a while ago. Like
the bartender's like the bellwether. Like they don't care as long as they don't tax me.
Yeah,
which seems
like
very
as long as you're not
Fallout.
taxing me, it's fine. Which is true. Yeah, because everybody's like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me with this mess. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have anything to do with your weird faction.
Exactly.
I got the
Freeside.
impression that the death claws were there for a while.
Yeah,
It was normal. They had built the walls up and it was reinforced. Like they weren't coming through.
yeah.
They had a
That
minute
was the
to think
other
about
thing.
this.
It's a tough thing to wrap my head around because what keeps them there? I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a breeding ground, who brought the breeding ground? Because you had said, Karina, that they kind of only stay where people really aren't.
Yeah, you saw, okay, all it did was stand up and it completely crushed the doorway, broke all the tiles off and everything. It wasn't even
Yeah.
trying.
Just
It could
mushed
easily destroy that fence. Like, if it really
was
wanted to
cake.
get through that fence, it absolutely would. There would be nothing to stop it. Or even they could probably jump over the fence. Like, they're pretty agile creatures. They're not easy to contain. If you see the actual Deathclaw cages that you can build in Fallout 4, they're pretty intense. They're not just patchwork fence work or anything like that, like you see around the outside of New Vegas. Possibly the reason they're staying there is because that's their nest area and they're mostly concerned with just keeping their nest area free of intruders. So they're not interested in chasing them beyond that. There's no reason to. Or potentially, if these are directed creatures, like the ones that are deployed specifically and they're behaving as the Enclave intended them to behave, which is to guard this space. This is where we want you. They're intelligent enough to understand that. Again, they would have no reason to leave that area or chase people beyond it because their job is to guard that space. So either of those things could be true.
Hold up. Two things, if you don't mind. I hadn't considered that there might still be a connection between the Deathclaws and the Enclave. Entirely possible. Cool. But if that's the case, then is it possible that Hank wasn't trying to contact Mr. House?
That's possible. Yeah, he may have been trying to contact the Enclave because they're doing a lot of
Double
research.
dip in this mother effer. And are we to also assume that the Vault-Tec spy briefcase that he has cuffed to his wrist is the cold fusion that Robert House was supposed to acquire?
That was my assumption.
I would think so. Yeah. Because he also says, like, I'm an assassination target now because he's got the cold fusion thing.
For who?
Like,
Right.
yeah,
Maybe he wasn't speaking out of school.
Yeah.
Because maybe he's there not to meet House, but maybe he's there to meet Diane Welch. And you wouldn't think. Again, it would fly over your head.
We interrupt this podcast yet again for another important post-recording update. It's important to remember that Season 1, the Enclave did in fact have cold fusion on their shelves. Perhaps thanks to Hank and the suitcase he was carrying supposedly to Robert House. To backtrack a little, Dr. Wilzig did defect from the Enclave trying to get the cold fusion into the hands of Moldava of the NCR, and he succeeded in that endeavor thanks to Lucy's help. However, because of the revolution between the Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR, and in the chaos, the Brotherhood of Steel won. Maximus claimed the glory of taking out Moldava and claimed the artifact on behalf of the Brotherhood of Steel. And a couple of episodes ago, he and Thaddeus carried away cold fusion, thanks to the help of Dane, in an effort to escape the Brotherhood of Steel's civil war. So to wrap it up in a bow, perhaps Hank was always going to meet up with Congresswoman Diane Welch, and that the Enclave was simply mirroring Vault-Tec's actions to prepare themselves for Vault-Tec's Reclamation Day. We now return you to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Now, I realize what I sound like, and that is crazy. Stranger things have happened. And I'm going to lay out another one. Okay, do you remember the crazy theory I laid out about who was the shadowy figure in the summit between the corporations that was in the background. Do you remember who I said that was?
No.
I don't remember this conversation.
Okay, I had said it was Quintus. Elder Cleric Quintus.
Okay.
Wait, in the meeting with all of the
big companies like Big MT and Big Mountain and Robco and West Tech and Vault Tech.
That would have required him to be frozen probably until this time period.
Right, because we mentioned cryopods, etc. Now, I mentioned that because, like, okay, it was wackadoodle. There's no reason for it. There's no evidence backing it up. It's the last episode. We're never going to know, blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm thinking, if we're going to start going to areas where who's the other player, and there's no Brotherhood of Steel in the past, but this is about the time when Maxon actually rebelled because of the U.S. government's, the U.S. military's use of the FEV.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that Quintus is Maxon, not saying that. But what I am saying is the player that we wouldn't see coming is the Brotherhood of Steel, because if it is Quintus from the past, somehow frozen, rethought in the future, or Maxon, it could be Maxon, what's fine. It would be a player you wouldn't see coming, but you've already seen on the show. And you would assume that it was the Enclave from where Wilzig came from in the first or second episode, I can't remember which. But then you'd be like, oh no, it was the Brotherhood of Steel all along. And Quintus is in that meeting as something else. Who knows what that was at the time. This would blow the gamers and the people watching the show out of the water. Because on the one hand, again, it's something you have seen, but you wouldn't see coming.
Right.
Because it's out of order.
That was a lot. So...
You expect me to go back to the last episode of last season finale? And there's that one shadowy figure of a frame, as Barb Howard is talking about, pushing the button herself.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time figuring out how Quintus would have been frozen and then thawed.
People can be in cryopods like Barb and Janie Howard.
But then somebody has to let them out.
Yeah, or they could be on a timer, I guess, which I assume is what the first person that was de-thawed. By the way, side note, they were both in the very premium executive cryopods that Stephen Winthrop was in.
The Elite Pro.
Yep. Elite Premium Luxury. You can tell because you can faintly see his nameplate right next to Barb Howard, which is actually unsettling. Because on the one hand, Hank was very determined to pop heads. I guess he found a head pop that he didn't like.
Well, and he knows who...
to establish a baseline.
Barb is, and he knows who the ghoul is.
Right, because he saw him in the last episode, right?
Yeah.
So for the few episodes that we haven't seen him, he's already known what he has to do to get Lucy safe and on side, but also the ghoul locked down because he saw the carnage he did at the NCR's last holdout, basically, and the Brotherhood with the people and the stuff.
Yeah. What happened to Hank? Because they're doing a very good job. When they show him in the past, he is just a nobody nothing, right? And he's like, oh, Mr. Howard, let me carry your bags. Let me lick your shoes. Let me wipe your butt.
He's like a yes man, huh?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Shut up. I'm tired.
No, I mean, the yes man's an actual thing on the games.
Yeah, Hank's very much a yes man in the past. And then fast forward, now he's like the leader of his
Vault.
Vault.
He's the overseer. He was the overseer.
I was so stuck on cryopod. I'm like, nope, it's not a pod. Not a pod. Think of any other word
it's
but
like
pod.
a pod, but bigger, but not frozen.
Yeah. What happened between? Because it seems like he has a lot of responsibility, right? He's like a leader now and sort of a big deal. What happened between then and now?
Are you saying between the time he was de-thawed?
No, I'm saying from the time he's kissing Cooper's butt to the thaw. I mean, something happened before he was frozen because he woke up and was leader of a vault.
How dare you say that that's a bad question? You described an observation.
I'm saying I'm dumb if I missed
the
answer.
You didn't miss
somewhere.
anything.
Okay.
No, you didn't miss anything. It's a perfect question. It actually dovetails very well to even my dumb theory about him being involved in some tacit way with the Enclave.
My assumption is that when they're thawed from Vault 31, they go through some kind of training process because from their perspective, looking at, I can't think of her name right now, but the really sweet girl that Norm thawed out, she's like...
Claudia.
She's like, I just watched The World End last week. So that's everyone's perspective when they first get thawed out. This happened a week ago. So they don't come out of the cryopod knowing exactly how to behave as if they were somebody who grew up in the vault, which is what everyone from 32 and 33 thinks of Vault 31. What actually is happening, I feel, is they're being thawed. They're going through some kind of training process, learning how to pretend to be a vault dweller, and then getting placed in the vault, one or the other, and then rising through the ranks. So I feel like Hank's progression from the yes man, the young man who wants to like climb the ladder and do everything and make a good impression, to an actual leader just happened organically. He became the overseer. That's a natural leadership progression for, instead of in a corporation, he's doing it in the vault. And so now he feels like he's achieved what he's supposed to achieve. Now, whatever training or directives that they get either before being frozen or after coming out of cryosleep, I don't know anything about it. Like if they get let in on the secret or whatever the case is, whatever information they're given about what the experiment is, because Stephanie makes mention of that too, whether she was saying that as like a tongue-in-cheek thing or like a real actual experiment that they were trying to perform, possibly. It's still kind of secret, shadowy, like we don't really know what goes on. But I do feel like they have to be kind of let in on, okay, this is what life is like. This is what these people are going to be like. This is how you need to behave. This is like your backstory. They're kind of coaching them to feel like people who have grown up in a vault, because that's what everyone believes that they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I think happened with Hank. He just naturally got older and got more experience being a leader because he was one.
So he always had this potential.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Keeping in mind, buds are all junior executives. They're people who are trying to climb the corporate ladder and become someone important
Or trainees,
in the company. Yeah, they're trainees or whatever.
Fair.
They're there to learn and grow over time, which is what they did. They just did it in the vault instead of in the corporation.
So speaking of the experiment, I feel like they might tell them something about the experiment, but not the truth, because
That's
they're doing
possible.
some pretty awful things. And I don't think anyone, say Stephanie and Betty, who think they know about the experiment, if they told them what was actually happening, I don't think they would probably go along with it, because they're clearly part of it.
Yeah, it's very likely that Vault-Tec did not tell them the whole truth or told them a complete falsehood, because many of the vaults flat out just lied to the residents. One egregious example, I don't remember which vault it was, but one of them basically suggested to the residents that in order to stay alive, you have to sacrifice one person every year. And so the person who was voted overseer ended up being sacrificed. So there would be campaigns, literally the opposite of wanting to get elected is the
Don't
campaign.
vote for me.
Yeah, vote for this guy, and that guy would be like, no, actually you should vote for this guy, and like, so the person who actually won the vote would get sacrificed. And then at the end, when there was only 2 people left, it was revealed Vault-Tec let them know, like, actually you didn't have to kill anybody. I don't know why you did
Thanks
that.
for playing.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, we just want to see what would happen if this ultimatum in front of you. Yeah, exactly. Like
Idiots.
as long as these people have been alive, that this is the routine and this is how it works. And then they're expected to know that, oh, you didn't actually have to do that. That's an example of something that Vault-Tec has done. For what reason? Who knows? But it's not unreasonable to think that they have lied to the executives coming from Vault 31 or told them a half-truth.
This gets me to thinking that, because even Robert House says Vault-Tec isn't really one person, which is why House says it's unclear whether that's Barb that's the one that's going to push the button. It could be, but it's unlikely, and it feels like it's not going to be her, is what the impression I get from his words. And he even says,
despite what we both heard in that meeting, Vault-Tec is a collision of bureaucrats.
It's hard to pin it down to one person, which means it's exactly like you're saying, Karina, is that it's a bunch of people who are spitballing all these vaults, and even, because I was going to lay it at Barb Howard's feet, all this experimentation, but really it's the executives or whatever the shadowy figure is, even, who knows, but it could be exactly like you're saying. They're giving all the different people that are being de-thought from 31 a specific set of responsibilities to oversee the different vaults. So even when Stephanie and Betty Pearson are talking about the experiments, they could be thinking of totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it could really be about these dim-witted. See, I made the mistake you made, somebody who is not here probably, that these executive trainees, that they're dumb, but they're not dumb. They're just inexperienced.
Right.
They're smart. They're go-getters, and they have really good, they have specific talents that are actually kind of impressive. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this one thing, because when they hear the noises coming from the elevator shaft and they make fun of Janice, who died at her desk.
Yeah.
But when they heard the noises, Clark, Rajesh Suresh, he says,
I need to craft a weapon.
He literally used in-game terminology.
Yeah, he's like, I have to craft a weapon. And then he grabs a crafting supply, which is
Janice's
a fan. Like, he just
fan.
grabs it. I thought that was the funniest thing I had seen. I had to pause the episode and laugh about it for a second.
All the things.
Because that is such a fan service thing for gamers, because fans are a good crafting resource because they provide a lot of useful parts. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fans are like one of the more useful crafting resources. Yeah, because they provide metal and some other gears and stuff like that you can use to craft all kinds of things. But the fact that he literally yelled, I have to craft a weapon. I need a weapon or anything like that. I have to craft a weapon, then he grabs a crafting supply. A very common one at that. Like,
yeah. How often are you crafting weapons before being frozen?
Probably not often.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think it was funny the way he said it.
No, I know. I love it.
Instead of I need a weapon or let's find a weapon or something, like I have to craft a weapon. Okay.
I mean, they're already getting you to suspend this much disbelief. Why not just go a little further?
Yeah.
Right. It happens so fast, too.
Oh, yeah.
Can we also love the fact that Barv came back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Barv, the roach farm.
You know, I'm so glad we came back here, actually, because you could say whatever you want about Ma Jun's interaction with Norm and Norm's reaction to hearing her say that Lucy's dead, but he doesn't believe it for a second.
No.
It's how they left everybody at the end of it, because she says, I'm trying to be a better person, Barv. And yet she was Samaritan. Did you get this distinct feeling that for as much as Lucy's kind of turning into the ghoul, or a ghoul, the ghoul himself,
becoming
swapping
ghoulish
with the ghoul, the fact that she entered these people's lives and made Ma Jun feel enough of a way to make her think that maybe it could be better.
Yeah.
It's totally Lucy. I'm not
her
crazy,
influence.
Right?
Yeah, no, her
exactly.
influence is spreading across. And that's a very common theme when you play the games too. Like if you're playing someone who is willing to help for no reason other than you're able to, it does affect their demeanor and the way they talk to you afterwards. They may start the quest line feeling very defensive or very like, I'll pay you to get this done. And then you just do it. And then either you don't ask for payment or you go above and beyond and do something for them without them really even asking you to do it. It'll kind of change the way they treat you as well. So it is an in-game experience as well when you're playing like an exceptionally good character. Or trying to. It doesn't always work out.
Above the line of good.
Yeah. Sometimes you turn out like Maximus, where things just happen and then it snowballs from there, and all of a sudden you're killing your elder and there's a civil war happening. You know what I mean? Like stuff happens.
Yeah. Kind of goes to the greater point of you want to think that you're not full of S, like everybody's telling you are.
Yeah.
That the wasteland isn't going to wear you down. But then when you see the fruits of that labor of you trying to make, what Max's dad said, you try to leave the wasteland a little bit better than you found it.
Yeah.
You know, you want to hope that that's the case, which gives us a little bit of hope that Lucy's not completely ghoulified, maybe, or
I don't
maybe
think
she is
that
a ghoul.
she is. The whole interaction where she's been left to go get some addictol to cure this drug addiction, because clearly it's affecting your thinking. And I keep saying it's a very in-game experience. It is. Accidentally getting addicted to chems sucks. And it's not how many times you use them, it's a percentage chance. So each one is a little bit different. Buffout has about a 25% chance, I think, for addiction. She was on it for a long time. He said a couple of days she was on that drip. So she obviously got addicted. In game, when that happens, when you're taking these chems just to help you survive something, you're usually taking them just to get out of a situation, at least the way I play. When that addiction hits, it really sucks because it affects everything you do afterwards, which is absolutely the case with what happened with Lucy, where she's making decisions based on her addiction. You end up playing the game in service of trying to find a solution to it, which is what is happening with Lucy. She's making decision based on this chem addiction. She decides to take more chems because she doesn't want to deal with the withdrawal effects. She wants to get the mission done because it's easier to just keep taking the chems. She sees this sign for Addictol, which is supposed to be 125 caps and has been inexplicably raised to 1,000 caps, which is an obscene amount of money for anything. And then the Power Fist, of course, she sees that and wants it. 10,000 caps, more caps than exist in all of New Vegas, probably. You know?
And I remember the entry fee for New Vegas.
Yeah, it was 1,000 caps. Feels like an impossible task. She's making all these decisions based on this chem addiction, and she's starting to see, as many gamers do, why am I continuing to try to play the game the good way when I can just sneak in and take what I need because I just need it. And so she does that. And the entire interaction inside Sunny Sundries is such a random encounter type of thing. You're just walking into a shop to get some supplies and you stumble upon this guy actively stealing this man's business, like making sweeping changes to the pricing of everything and very poorly lying his way out of it. And she's like, that's definitely not Sunny in the barrel back there, and those are definitely not Sunny's clothes that you're wearing
What's so
right now.
random
like,
about a naked guy robbing
Yeah.
a store?
People do it
feel
all the time.
offended, even though I'm the owner.
Right. I'm clearly
clothes
Sunny.
totally
I'm
fit.
clearly the owner.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's not only stumbled upon this crazy situation that's happening in this store, she's also making decisions based on her Kim addiction. And I feel like that is, like I said, such a in-game thing to happen. Maybe not step for step, but essentially all the main beats of the Kim addiction you didn't mean to have, and then the decisions you make based off of that or because of that in the future. Even at the end of that scene, the lady's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I don't know who I am. I'm making all these decisions that I never would have made in the past." Like, I don't think that she's irredeemable because through all of that, she's still trying to be the person that she was. She's still refusing to use language and stuff like that. She's like, "You probably just tell me to fudge off." You know, she's still trying to be that person. And she's still deeply offended when the ghoul betrays her to the point that she punches him out the window, which, to be fair, he kind of deserved.
Right. And still has a conversation with him, even though obviously he's a ghoul, but he's impaled. It seems an appropriate time to have a conversation.
I thought we were friends. I loved that whole spiral, basically, of her starting from the last episode where she's, you know, making crazy decisions because she's on drugs or chems, and the ghoul kind of being like, actually, I kind of like this version of you. And then it's now spiraled into, probably if the ghoul had seen her making these choices, he might have had something to say about it as well. Almost seeing a reflection of himself, I'm sure, at some point doing similar things, or her starting down the same path that he probably started down, because you don't get to the point where he's at, where he's just cutting people's throats and shooting them and threatening their families and stuff like that overnight. It probably started with, you know what, why don't I steal this thing? Why don't I just shoot this guy? You know what I mean?
Because I need it. I have
Yeah,
to.
Because
I need
want
it. I want
It's
it
out of
real
my price
bad.
range and I want
10,000 caps is a lot of caps. I could just take it.
Yeah. So I had one little beef.
Another one more thing?
What's happening? You can't talk, and I'm saying just one more thing. One little beef with this episode. So they split up, they go their separate ways. Ghoul's going to get trashed, and she's going to get her Addictol meds. And then they don't see each other again until she walks into the hotel room that he's clearly taken over. How did she know where he was?
I figured that out pretty quickly.
Did you now? Care to share? Because
Yeah.
it's not like she called him up on his cell phone.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say.
No.
No, that's not what I
Here's
was gonna
why
say.
you're wrong, David.
He said,
So
he
in
said,
this,
I was going to go get effed up, and he's kind of pointing in the general direction of a bar. But then she goes into the bar. She goes, "Ghoul," and he goes, "Upstairs." That's it. That's how she knows.
That's what I figured too.
Ghoul.
Like, she probably just asked the bartender, "Have you seen a ghoul
You've seen an
come through
ugly,
here?"
ugly
Like,
companion of mine.
and then just
He's a
knocked on
ghoul.
kind of rude.
knocked on every door until he didn't answer because she walked in.
Well, I think he would have said, "Oh, room, whatever," and then she would have went there.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's a deleted scene, actually. It's a very boring one.
All right, fine.
You don't have to see Morgan poop, I said.
In the game, if you just walk upstairs after renting a room, only one door will be unlocked. So
okay.
she could only get into that room.
She could only
Like,
open
that's the
one
only one
door.
she
Try
could
all
have
of them.
opened.
All right. You know what, David? I like
A
that
deleted
answer
blooper
better.
reel will show everything. Yeah.
That makes much more sense to me.
Okay.
I like that better.
It was the only one that was open.
Poop.
It was.
All right, let's go rapid fire Easter eggs, baby.
Okay, the free side sign is almost identical to the one in the game, so kudos on that. The Atomic Wrangler Casino, if you wanted to know, is also a flop house, a brothel, and a Kim's dealer. The Galaxy News radio flashback scene. Galaxy News radio is a music station run by Three Dog in Fallout 3, which is my favorite station because Three Dog is amazing. And then the Galaxy News broadcast itself is identical to the opening loading videos for Fallout 4. So while you're waiting for the game to load for the first time ever, you will watch these videos about the special attributes. It's literally the exact same narrator, the exact same kind of cartoonish animation. So I thought that was cool.
That's also Fallout 1, by the way. I should mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have not played Fallout 1. So.
They kind of brought it back from 97. So
yeah.
if
you didn't recognize it, the Securitron that greets you in Mr. House's quarters is Victor, of course.
Victor,
howdy. Yeah. Silver Rush that you see across the street from Atomic Wrangler is an energy weapons dealer. It is no longer a casino. Interesting. And then, of course, House is suggesting the other player, I am assuming, is the U.S. government. Therefore, the other player is the government. We drop the bombs on ourselves, essentially, is what he's saying.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like the literal player of the game.
No, not like the career. No, I don't think that was the case. But yeah, those were my little things that I wanted to point out. Also, as they're walking through Freeside, you can see the King's School of Impersonation in the background, which I thought was amazing. So
I did not see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't. She wasn't in that episode.
Oh, that's funny.
From last week, yeah.
Yeah,
King's
I did
School of
appreciate.
You were
it.
explaining what the Kings were and why they were ghouls, but then what the Kings were in the game.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the gaggle of ghouly kings.
Gaggle of feral ghoulies.
Feral ghoul kings. I'm sad that it seems like the Kings are all just feral ghouls now because they were a cool faction. And hopefully we'll see some that are not ghoulified and are actually impersonators, because that would be great.
Oh boy, unlikely. Unfortunately, I just want to remind everybody that yes, it could be the Enclave is that other player, but it could also be pre-Brotherhood of Steel Quintus again. You'd never see it coming.
We'll place our bets.
Oh yeah. What are the betting odds? Let's go to Kalshi to see. This is not an ad.
I hate it when David's right.
I might hate it if I'm right, because it's
pretty far-fetched.
And it's a holdover from the first season too.
Would not be the first time he has said something absolutely ridiculous that has
you do
ended up being real.
I did predict that we would have dropped the bomb. Well, but then again, I think that was most people's prediction. Am I wrong? That we dropped the bombs on ourselves.
That we did it ourselves. Yeah. To start. Yeah.
I think I did it like in the second or third episode or something.
I think we're gonna find out that Barb doesn't push the button, and I only say that because she's so eager to. It was her idea to.
So eager to.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's eager to. I feel like she's
crying about it.
I don't know. I almost feel like she has a different personality at work. She almost compartmentalizes that and then doesn't consider her own feelings on it, and she just does what's best for the company. She's a company woman.
Yeah.
First
she's
and
the one
foremost,
who suggested that we do that they do it.
Yeah, that would be the case.
I was going to bring this up sort of in passing.
They do it.
Well, I understood what you said. It's you.
I'm just so stupid.
So this is a lot like the AI conversation, and I have a little bit more sympathy for Barb because of this, but a lot of people are saying of why they need to hyper ramp up their AI development is because if everybody else is doing it, we have to do it also, and we don't want to be left behind. So I feel like what a Barb is succumbing to is it might be somebody else, but if it's going to happen, let it be us, because then we can control the fallout.
Sure.
And since they are vault tech, maybe they can get as many people as possible, or at least the right people, into the vaults from her perspective. But she doesn't know, like House said, the mash of execs that are in charge of vault tech, really in charge. They don't know what they have planned for those vaults.
Yeah.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
We just thought we'd remind you to show this episode some love by tapping that like button, if there's one to be tapped, subscribing to our podcast or channel, and if available, enabling all notifications, and sharing the show, or clips of it, with everyone you know. And don't be afraid to reach out. Leave your questions, feedback, ideas, or even concerns in the comments section. There isn't one? Head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and leave your thoughts there. Rating our podcast is the best way to get our attention because it also boosts our visibility. And we'll probably address it in the next episode too. And if you think there's something to what we're doing here at Squawking Dead, tip us over on Ko-fi. As a token of our appreciation, you'll receive forever access to our Discord, along with 30 days access to our uncut episode and interview recordings, plus our pre-squawk insights. Take your support further. Join a membership tier on either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead, and you'll unlock access to more channels on our Discord server, receive shoutouts at the end of every episode, and depending on what tier you join, the ability to join us on camera and mic to break down future episodes alongside us. Thank you for hearing us out and making it this far into the episode.
We now return you to our regularly scheduled podcast.
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Oh, one more thing?
I have one more thing.
This is worse than me. I would have called it quits. Go ahead.
I know, but I had a question earlier that I was going to ask, and then I forgot to ask it, and then it popped back into my head. When the ghoul is visiting the other management vaults and they're empty, why are they empty? Did they never occupy those ones, or?
What I think is it goes to Vault-Tec definitely not having been the ones to drop the nukes. Because I think for the most part, they were unprepared.
Yeah.
Okay. So they never made it to.
They didn't have a chance.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking it's either that or something went wrong with it and the doors opened early, or somebody didn't follow protocol, or simply that they just didn't get to it in time. Because if you think about in Fallout 4, the very beginning, the Vault-Tec representative comes to your house to verify your information and your admission with your family into the vault. And minutes later, the bombs drop, and even the Vault-Tec representative doesn't make it into the vault. Like,
that was fast.
So yeah, like, wow, that was such good timing. We got admitted in 5 minutes before the bomb fell.
Yeah. I found it very interesting that the ghoul said they were empty, not full of dead bodies or everybody was dead.
Right.
He very specifically said they were empty, as if no one had ever been
whistle
there.
clean. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I thought,
I didn't articulate this at the time, but I did predict that Barb and Janie were in that premium executive vault. I didn't mean to predict it. I was like, they could be there.
Yeah. Didn't we all kind of see that coming?
No, nobody said anything.
We were all thinking
Except for Dave.
Except for me.
You know what?
I said they were dead.
Well,
wow.
So that's why I said it was. See, I never got to that point. That's why I said it's kind of troubling, because if Hank got a little gusto, it would be his boss. So we don't know how he feels about Barb Howard.
Well, sure we do. He wants to carry her luggage and kiss her feet.
But
well, in effort of
yeah.
making himself look good enough to move up.
Sure,
the
but if he's
ladder,
working for the Enclave, not Rob House.
Yeah.
See?
Maybe he felt like there was a better way to succeed by going laterally.
By being a double agent.
Yeah.
Sure.
If I can't get up this ladder, I'll go over here to the Enclave and climb that ladder.
Exactly.
Sure. Makes sense.
But we should say we did establish that he does respect family. And again,
yes.
It could be the fact that he just wants his family back. Because for 40 years he didn't do anything. And maybe he already figured out, like Betty Pearson, Vault-Tec ain't coming. But
Yeah.
who will? If the Enclave is the one that's still around, then that could be the one he's appealing to, because he knew Robert House was long gone the last 20 years.
Possible. I like it.
I realized that the more we go on with these episodes, there's so many more facts that we have to juggle in our brains as we go on. And things that didn't matter previously are starting to matter now. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We don't do I like what you heard anymore.
That's how I tell you to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what I'm doing right now. So how about that? Don't tell me what to do. And one more thing. Oh my God,
One
I
more
do sound
thing,
like
actually.
you. I sound like you. Don't tell me what to do.
We
This is
completely
weird,
reversed
Rachel.
roles
This is
episode.
really, really weird.
I know, it sucks being me, doesn't it?
No, it's fun, actually. Kind of. So
I'm glad
carefree.
you're having
Anyway.
fun with it.
Yeah. Well, sorry about your one more things. I didn't give you any shit for it, though. I really enjoyed this for a variety of reasons. A lot of them kind of emotional in a way. But I feel like this is going to get away from us really fast. This is going to get really accelerated now. From what happens in the past to what's happening in the present with all the trainees.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And Norm was nearly suffocated by Ronnie McCurchery.
Yeah.
Because Claudia basically called him a cult.
Yeah,
Yes.
I kept waiting
Am I
for
right?
her to come in and like hit him with a bottle or something. I thought for sure she was gonna save him.
I mean, he didn't kill him, but like, dang, he almost did. Like,
Yeah. So like, I was wondering what that was actually. And last thing. Now I'm going to take my power back, Rachel. Actual last thing. Obviously, Hank comes in because Lucy incapacitates the ghoul and she passes out. The original plan was for the ghoul to take her back to Vault 33, let's say, right? Because I don't think he knows what's happening in Vaults 32 and 33, that whole split up.
Oh, no.
They're just winging it now.
Well, he said back to the safety of the vault, not realizing that the water thing is broken, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
He doesn't know that they're about to all
everything else.
die. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now that she's incapacitated the ghoul and he can no longer, at least for now, take her to the vaults, he comes in himself. What do you think is happening here? Does he realize that he's proud of her and she managed to take out the ghoul, and maybe he's like, you're now worthy of the management position that I've groomed you for all your life? Because there's something definitely there that he comes there himself.
I think it could also be a hallucination. He's not there at all.
That's true.
I don't know. He was in the same suit though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was he?
Yeah.
Kind of blurry.
What he wanted initially was her to be safe in a vault for what he had to do, right? And the thing he had to do is Reclamation Day. Part of Reclamation Day is to subjugate the populace, which he's finally figured out, maybe, because he was very eager to be his test subject. wiping all my memories.
Like,
The
yes,
Fisto I just
definitely.
flirted
I
with.
want that.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Please erase all the memories of the chicken fiasco
Right.
and all of the horrible things I've experienced, almost dying to a rad roach. Who knows what else?
It should be worth noting that the Fisto stands for Fully Integrated Security Technotronic Officer.
Yeah.
Which the thing said is active and reporting for duty. Okay. Just want to say that out loud.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Heyo, literally like this. Weeks. Well,
Anyway,
I think that's an interesting place to leave off for the show and for us. So that being said, I am very happy and eager and thrilled to see the next episode. We only have 3 episodes left.
Yay.
And well, I'm excited to cover A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I hope we can keep up with the workload now that we're in a better place as a podcast and in life. So I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by
me, Cosmo Mom 09.
And me, Karina, at a Karina Art.
And Jason says, good show, guys. Take care. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for being there. I'm glad we got to keep you company during work. And take care, all of you. We'll see you very soon. And just remember, in the meantime, that we are Squawking Dead. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to bed now.
Now we've just switched to the Squawking Dead After Dark, where Rachel sleeps on her couch. Thank you for making it to the end of yet another episode of Squawking Dead. This one, Fallout's 5th episode of Season 2, titled The Wrangler. Sounds like me trying to get everybody to gather for yet another recording of Squawking Dead. They call me The Wrangler. First of all, I want to thank you all for listening. We are well aware that you have so many choices when it comes to podcasts or any sort of entertainment media vying for your attention. We're just super thrilled that you decided that we are worth your time. And speaking of those who make it worth everyone's while, that we are even something that can be considered as a form of entertainment media. We'd like to thank our supporters for making all of this happen, both our Survivors and Whispers members, though we only have Whispers members. Our Survivors members are kind of our buds, junior exec trainees. They have access to our core channel, as well as any sort of meetings that we have regarding development. Moving on to our Whispers members, we have the following. Jason, who happened to be in the chat as we recorded this episode, who you can find on many things, but mainly Instagram via @Neo's the One. That's NEOS1HEONE. Rob Lucchese, you can mainly find on TikTok @RobsStuff_N as in Nancy _things, THANGS. And let's not forget about Kim.Rowley, the number 1 on Facebook. Keep an eye out on our merch store at squawkingdead.com. Make sure to choose the menu and choose the shop merch option and choose the option to peruse the new merch. You may have to look at the all product section for the time being until we put up the Fallout section, as we slowly but surely eliminate our designs pertaining to The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And hey, we want to know what you think. Definitely DM us or leave us a comment on our latest merch. We could definitely use your input when it comes to how these look, because it's for you that we do these things. And as I said earlier, as this season starts to come to a close and we start covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, just want you to remember that we are Squawking Dead.